Okay, welcome to the class, students. Today we will be discussing the topic on elasticity. In the last class, we have discussed a detailed introduction about elasticity, why we should study the elastic property of the material. Okay, so let us recapitulate the things what we have done in the last class. Okay, so before that, I would like to share the screen. Just make sure that it's visible to you. Is the screen visible to you, students? Okay, I think date is small. Yes, okay, thank you. So in the last class, we have discussed some basic concepts for elasticity. So what is elasticity? Okay, the meaning of elasticity, why we should study the elasticity. Okay, as an engineer, you should know the properties of the material, that is elastic properties of the material to design engineering uh, structures like bridge, your home, or the body of a two-wheeler or a four-wheeler. So for all these, you should know the elastic properties of the material or elasticity. So elasticity is a property, is a physical property or a mechanical property. So we have seen that whenever a spring is extended by pulling it, that is by applying a force F, okay, there is an extension in the spring. There is a extension in the spring. So if you apply the force here, okay, this is the direction of the force. As you apply the force, what happens? There is an elongation in the spring. This is how the spring gets elongated. And if you release the force or if you make the force equal to 0, it goes back to the original shape and size. Similarly, here I have the vertical spring. Okay, this is the direction of the spring force that you have applied. Okay, once you apply the spring, once you apply the force, okay, it gets elongated, and if you release the force, it goes back to the original shape. Similarly, here I have given you the case of a rubber band that is used in a sweet box to cover it. So that is also exhibiting the elasticity property. Okay, so a rubber is very small in shape, size, and if you apply the force, it gets elongated. Now look at the length; it is almost 5 to 6 times greater than its actual dimensions. If you remove the force, then it goes back to the original position. So these are the examples of elasticity. So elasticity, as I told you, is a property of a material or it's a property of a body such that the body regains its original shape and size after removing the applied force. Okay, so it is a property of a body or a system such that it tends to regain its original shape and size after removing the applied force. So when you remove the applied force, if a material goes back to its original shape, then we say that material is a elastic material. Under the influence of an applied force, look at this. This is the applied force F. Okay, under the influence of applied force, there is a deformation in the body. Deformation means change in the shape of a body. Okay, so therefore the force is also called as deformation force. Applied force or deformation force mean the same. Okay, a rigid body is the one for which the dimensions are same. It is not going to change when when a force is going to act on it. Okay, so here there is no what do you say, perfect elastic material. Okay, we cannot say we cannot find a perfect elastic material. So all bodies do not come back to their original shape. Okay, what happens, some of the bodies they retain in their deformed shape. Those type of materials we call it as plastic materials. You are getting that? Plasticity. Okay, what is plasticity? If a body does not regain its original shape and size, if it is not regaining its original shape and size after removing the applied force and remains in the deformed shape, that is called as the plasticity, and the materials which exhibit the plasticity we call it as plastic materials. Now for example, I have a wire whose length is length L, okay, and if I apply the force F, once I apply the force, there is an extension in the length of the wire by X, okay. So what is the total length? The total length I can write it as L plus X, original length plus extension. if I remove the force, means I have applied the force F. If I make the force F equal to 0, it should go back to the original dimension, but it is not going back to the original dimension. It is staying in the deformed state. That we call it as a plastic material, and that property is called as plasticity. So plasticity means similarly, as I told you, as you have a perfect elasticity, you don't have a perfect plasticity. Okay, so but we can define what is perfect plasticity. A body remains in a deformed state permanently. If it is staying in a deformed state permanently, even after removing the applied force or deformation force, that type of body is called as a plastic body or perfect plastic. That example I have given you as a putti. While in case of perfect plastic material, the material which is almost perfect is nothing but a quartz. Now keep in mind, there is no 100% elastic material or a plastic material. They are only in comparison with the other. So the most material which exhibits the elasticity very well is the quartz, and the other one, the perfect elasticity means for a material which is exhibiting perfect plasticity is nothing but a putti. Therefore, or I can say it as patti. Okay. Therefore, the elasticity of a material lies between the quartz and a putty. Okay, got it. So here, let us understand a few terms. Okay, for the requirement that is okay required. Okay, so these are the few terms that you should know. The first one is the elasticity or the stress. Okay, so before we go for the stress and strain, you should know why there is a elasticity, why the elasticity comes into the picture, why the materials exhibit elasticity property, why the material exhibit elasticity property, why there is a elasticity, why the material exhibiting elasticity. Now the why, because you know that all materials, they are made up of large collection of atoms like this, large collection of atoms. They are nothing but collection of atoms, all solid bodies. Okay, they are made up of atoms like this. These are the regularly arranged atoms. Okay, in a solid material. You are getting the point. So what happens here? This may be an atom, or it may be a collection of atoms that we call it as a molecule. We call it as a molecule. So what happens? One atom or one molecule. Okay, they are actually connected with the nearest atoms or molecule with a force. That force is called as a intermolecular force. So I can represent this intermolecular force like this. This is the just a representation. Okay. This is how the intermolecular forces. These are the interatomic or intermolecular forces. Therefore, here these are nothing but the interatomic, if it is an atom, or it is an intermolecular force. Okay, so therefore, there is a force that is existing between the two atoms. Okay, so these okay, so therefore, these two atoms, they are actually interacting through this intermolecular force, or if the atoms are instead of atoms we have molecules, that means intermolecular forces is existing between the two atoms or two molecules like this. These are the molecules. I can take it as A, B, C, and D. So it may be molecules or atoms. So what happens here is that when we apply a force, so this is a material, and we are applying a force like this. This is the direction of the force. So what happens? These molecules, no, these atoms A, B, let us assume it, they get displaced. Now here it is A and this is B. So once I apply a force like this, the atom A gets displaced to a new point A dash. Okay, B will get displaced to new point B dash, like this, A dash and B dash. Therefore, there is a displacement of the atoms. Due to the displacement, what happens? The intermolecular force that is present between the two atoms is changed, okay, is disturbed, okay, and the disturbance is such that it is this intermolecular force tries to bring back the atom to its original position, whatever the intermolecular interatomic force that is present will make sure that the atom, when it is displaced under the influence of external force to have deformation, okay, that atom will be made to go back to its original position. So you can assume that it is just like a spring. It is just like a spring, okay. This atom A and B, it is through the interatomic force. This interatomic force, you can assume it as a spring, okay. So what happens if atom B is moving? Say, for example, atom B is displaced to new point B dash here. What happens? This interatomic force will pull the atom back towards the original position B. You are getting the point? So therefore, this interatomic force, okay, that is present will pull the atom, if at all it is moving under the influence of this external force. Likewise, all the atoms that are present, there is an interatomic or intermolecular force that is present. This intermolecular force will, when they are combining together, all these are, when the intermolecular, when they are combining, they will result in an restoring force. They will result in a restoring force. So therefore, aggregate of all the restoring force, or all the molecular force, or interatomic force, or intermolecular force will generate the restoring force in general. So therefore, I have a force that is acting in this direction for the material. In the exact direction, there will be a restoring force that is generated. Keep in mind. Okay. 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 So aggregate of all these three, all these interatomic force, that constitutes a restoring force. Keep in mind, if I am applying again, I'm representing the diagram. If I am applying a force like this in this direction, okay, then the restoring force that is generated in the body is always opposing the applied force. It's always opposing the applied force. This is the restoring force. If you have the applied force in this direction, the restoring force is in this direction. Therefore, you have learned that in the earlier class, if the spring is, this is the spring F, this is the spring, and if I apply the force, there is extension in the spring like this. Okay. So you are applying the force in this direction. You are applying the force in the downward direction, in this direction. Therefore, a restoring force will be opposite to it. This is the direction of the restoring force. Keep in mind, the restoring force is always, okay, restoring force is always equal and opposite to the applied force, equal and opposite in direction. Okay, opposite in direction. Opposite to means in terms of direction, okay, of the applied force, equal. So therefore, I can write the restoring force Fr should be equal to F. I think we have used this one in the SHM many times. Okay, this is a thing, but one of the properties of the material. Again, we will study in detail in the Hooke's law, that when we study this Hooke's law. Okay, let us go for the first term that we should know, that is known as the, hope this is clear, students. let us go for the few terminologies that you should know, that is known as the stress and strain. These are the basic terminologies. First, stress and strain. Let us understand what is stress and what is strain. So these are the basic terminologies. Okay. Stress and strain. Okay. Now here I have a material which is in the form of a wire. Okay, I will take this as a material like this. This is a material like this. Okay. Got it. I have a wire which is in the form of a circular wire. This is a circular wire, okay, whose one end is fixed. Got it. Now I am applying a force. This is the direction of the force. How can I apply a force? There are many ways that you can apply the force. You can physically pull it. You're getting the point. Or you can also apply the mass. For example, I can apply the mass like this. So once I apply a mass, M, okay, this will in turn generate a force that is F equal to M into G. So by applying a mass also, okay, I can generate a force. What is the force? F equal to M into G. This is the force that is applied in this direction. Or if you don't want that, you can also apply the force. You're getting the point. As you know that in the earlier class, I have been telling you that again and again that there is a extension in the length of the wire when you apply the material, when you apply the force like this. Okay, so I have the material like this. Okay. Okay, I have a wire. Now this is the original length. Okay. Now the wire is having a cross-sectional area A. This is nothing but a cross-sectional area. One end of the wire is fixed. Now what I do, I apply a force. Now this force may be either by applying a mass or by applying a physical force. Physically you can pull it. Okay, either of those two. Usually what we do is we consider this. Okay, we apply the mass. We apply the force by applying a mass. This mass is also called as the load. We call this as a load. So once we apply a load, a force is created equal to F. Okay, let us assume it. So what has happened? I have applied a force. Due to this, there is a increase in the length. This is called as the deformation. In the last class, you have learned that whenever there is a force that is applied to a material, the material gets deformed. So therefore, this is the thing but the deformation. So let us assume that this is the length L, length of the wire. I have taken the length of the wire as L, This is the length L as the length of the wire, and there is a deformation. How much is the deformation? This is the deformation. The deformation I will call it as X. So there is a deformation, change in dimension. You are getting the point. Here I have taken the example of a wire. Okay, I have taken the example of a wire. This is the force that I have applied. This is the force. This is the force that is applied. Okay, so due to the applied force, there's a deformation. And as you know that there is a restoring force. The restoring force is acting in the opposite direction. The direction of the restoring force is like this. This is the direction of the restoring force. Okay. So this is the direction of the restoring force, Fr. Okay. Now, let us take the area. This is the cross-sectional area A. A stands for the area. Okay. A is the area. What is FR? FR is the restoring force. FR is the restoring force. Okay. F is the restoring force. Okay. What is the F? F is nothing but the applied force. What is F stands for? F stands for the applied force. F stands for the applied force. Okay. It's here. Okay. F is the applied force. Now, due to the applied force, there is a deformation X. So X, I can say that there is a deformation. Deformation. Okay. In the length, deformation in the length. Okay. Deformation in the length means I can say this is the thing but change in dimension. It's a thing but change in dimension. There is a change in dimension. Length will change. Okay. So therefore I can define the first term stress. Stress I can define as, okay. Stress is defined as, therefore stress, I can define the value for stress as, first term, it is defined as the restoring force. It is defined as the restoring force per unit area. Per unit area. This is known as the restoring force per unit area is known as the stress. So therefore, stress I can write. Okay, stress is equal to restoring force. Restoring force divided by the area. Which area? This is the area, cross section area. You can see here. Okay, this is the area. You are getting the point. You can see here. Okay, this is the area. What is the applied force? This is the applied force. You can see here. This is the applied force. Okay, so this is the applied force. Okay, and this is the area. So this is the area what you have. Okay, applied force per unit area. Okay, so what is the applied force? I can write this as restoring force. Okay, I can write it as restoring force. Sorry, so stress is given by restoring force per unit area. So what is restoring force? Restoring force is here. So I just told about applied force. So this is the restoring force. So restoring force per unit area. Okay, so I have to, sorry, I have to retell you. So restoring force is FR. Okay, so using FR and A, I can write it. So therefore, restoring force is FR divided by A. Okay, so here restoring force, the unit for force is Newton and the unit for area is meter square. So therefore, this is how we define the stress for restoring force per unit area. So this is one way of defining the stress, or I can also define in another way. We know that, okay, we know that what we know? We know that restoring force, just now I have told you restoring force FR is equal to the applied force. Now in the previous diagram, if you look at it, I have written here, note, restoring force is always equal and opposite to the direction of the applied force. It is equal, no? So therefore, the restoring force FR should be equal to the applied force or deformation force. Applied or deformation means the same. So therefore, I can write FR is equal to F. Therefore, I can write stress. I can write it as, it's a thing, but the applied force per unit area. Okay, so therefore I can define what is applied force. This is applied force divided by area. Now applied force I have taken it as F, area I have taken it as A. Now look at this. Now it is F. Okay, this is the value of F and this is the value of A. This is the value of A and this is the value of F. So therefore F by A is the thing but the stress that is generated in the body. Okay, stress is equal to F by A, that is Newton per meter square. Okay, so keep in mind we usually define the stress in terms of applied force. We are not defining it in terms of the restoring force, but usually we can define sometimes like this. But remember, the main definition in most of the text, they will define it like this. It's a applied force per unit area. This is known as the stress that is present. Okay, there are different types of stresses like compressive stress, then tensile stress. These are not known as the longitudinal stress. Similarly, there is a tangential stress and normal stress. So as we go on, we'll study one by one. Okay, so hope it is clear the meaning of stress. Then there is one more term that comes into picture, that is known as the strain. That is called as the strain. Now we go to the same diagram. We can define the, look here, this is the case I have. Okay, you can look at this diagram. You can look at this wire by applying a force. By applying a force, I have modified the length of the wire. This is the force that I have applied. Okay. Got it. So by applying the force, okay, there is an increase in the length of the wire. There is a increase in the length of the wire. Length of the wire means I have written here, it is the dimension of the wire. Dimension of the wire is changed. The dimension of the wire is changed. Change in dimension. The length is changing. Length is one of the dimension of the wire. You're getting the point. So therefore, I can define the strain as a ratio. It is actually a ratio of change in dimension to the original dimension, Okay, so this is how I define the strain. Therefore, strain, okay, I can write it as change in dimension to the original dimension, Okay, what is change in dimension here? In this case here, okay, here I am telling you, in this case, here I will write it as, keep in mind it's not for length. Here I will write it, okay, here with the highlight I will write here, change in dimension is, length. The length is the one that is changed. Okay, so therefore I can define strain as equal to therefore I can define strain. Okay, this is the example that I have taken. Strain is equal to change in dimension. Change in dimension means, okay, change in dimension to the original dimension. So what is change in dimension? Length. Length is changing. Okay. Therefore, I can write here in the bracket, here it is the length that we are changing. Here the dimension is the length. Okay. So what is the change in dimension? The change in dimension is X. Look at the diagram here. Okay. The original length was L. Okay. What is the original length? It is L. What is the change in length? It is X. Original dimension is L. Change in dimension is X. Original dimension, change in dimension. X is the dimension. Okay. Okay. Therefore, X is the change in dimension to the original dimension L. Okay. Now, this is just an example. This is how I define the strain. So here the strain doesn't have any units. It doesn't have any units because, okay, it is the ratio of same entities. It is the ratio of same dimensions. Dimensions are same. The dimensions are same, length by length. If length by length means it doesn't have any units. Okay. So this is nothing but the strain. Likewise, as I told you, there are different types of strain, like longitudinal strain where there is a change in volume. Whenever there is a change in volume, okay, the change in dimension, maybe you just note it, okay, change in dimension, okay, what the dimension can change. So the dimensions can be, okay, length, the length I have given you, then the volume of the object can change. So, okay, volume or the shape. You are getting the point. Length may change, volume may change, shape may change. Now, keep in mind, again, I'm telling you, when you apply a force, this force creates a stress. Stress means it is force per unit area. Therefore, force and stress, they are anonymous of each other, or they are synonymous of each other. You are getting the point. If I say stress means actually I am talking of force. Okay. This stress or force will change the dimension. Dimension will change. Change in dimension. So once the dimension changes, there are three possibilities when you change the dimension. The length may change. What may change? Length. Volume may change. And shape of the material may change. Length, volume, or shape. Okay. So this is the meaning of strain. Okay. So just ಏನಪ್ಪಾ ಮಾರ ಕ್ಲಾಸಿಗೆ ವರುಣ್ ಏನೋ ನೀವು ಎಷ್ಟೊತ್ತಿಗೆ ಬರ್ತೀರಿ ವರುಣ್ it's too early man for the next class you should be on time okay see I am in the college waiting for you in the campus okay can you see the diagram behind Varun hello now you can see the diagram. I'm in the campus waiting for you in the classroom and you are coming half of the way. It's 12:20. You should be on time. So next time, make sure that you are in the class on time. Okay. Okay, students, now the screen is visible.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, go for the stress and strain. Hope you understand the meaning of stress and strain. So this is the second term that we have discussed. Stress and strain. Okay. Okay. Next, go for very important discussion that is called as a Hooke's law. It's called as a Hooke's law. Okay. Now this Hooke's law was given by Robert Hooke. Okay, around 1679. Okay. This gives you the relation between stress and strain. Okay. So according to Hooke's law, what does this law states? What does the Hooke's law states? Okay. What it states? It states that according to Hooke's law, the stress, according to Hooke's law, the stress in the body is directly proportional to directly is proportional to the strain induced in the body. Okay, in the body within elastic limit. Within the elastic limits. So this is known as the Hooke's law. What does Hooke's law states? Hooke's law states that the stress in the body is proportional to the stress means the stress induced in the body, okay, by external force. That is the meaning. The stress is directly proportional to the strain within elastic limits. Stress is directly proportional to strain within the elastic limit. If I write in simple words, stress is directly proportional to the strain. Okay, or I can remove the proportionality sign. I can induce a constant E. So this is E times the strain, where E is a constant of proportionality. It's a constant of proportionality. Okay, given by, which is given by, it is known as the modulus of elasticity. It is called as the modulus of elasticity. Okay, so therefore I can write, therefore, so if I take it as 1, therefore from 1 I can write the value for E as equal to stress. Therefore from 1, okay, I can write, therefore from 1, okay, I can write what I can write, the value for E, that is modulus of elasticity. Modulus of elasticity. Modulus of elasticity. Okay, so this modulus of elasticity is given by E. So if I rearrange 1, so that is the thing but stress divided by strain. It is given nothing but stress divided by strain. Now look here, the stress has a unit of Newton per meter square. Strain doesn't have any unit, no units. Therefore, no units. No units means here for the strain there is no unit. Therefore, the value for E, that is stress by strain, okay, will have the same unit as the stress. Okay, therefore it is having a unit of Newton per meter square. So this is the thing but the okay expression for the modulus of elasticity. This is also called as the coefficient of elasticity. It is also called as the coefficient of elasticity. Okay, now there are different types of elasticity, okay, depending upon the change in dimension. Okay, depending upon the, just you should know it, depending upon the change in dimension. Change in dimensions. 3 different types of modulus are there. 3 different types of modulus are present. Okay, so depending upon the change in dimension. For example, if change in dimension, is length is changing. If length is changing, that will be known with the term Young's modulus. That is known by the term Young's modulus. If the volume is changing, then that is known by the term bulk modulus. That is known by the term bulk modulus. And if the shape is changing, we call it as the shearing modulus or modulus of rigidity. It is called as the modulus of rigidity. Modulus of rigidity. Okay, this is usually we call it as Y, this we call it as K, and this is called as neta. Okay, this modulus of rigidity is also called as shearing rigidity. It is also called sometimes as shearing rigidity. Why? Because of the shearing effect that is taking place. So these are the 3 types of modulus that are present, or moduli that are present in the system. Okay, so let us go for the different types of stress, strain, and the modulus. Okay, let us go for the first one. Okay, now students, are you there? Are you taking the class notes?
Yes, yes, sir.
Length change that is leading to Young's modulus. Volume, if there is a changing, it is leading to bulk modulus. When there is a change in shape, it is leading to modulus of rigidity, or it is also called as shearing rigidity. So let us go for the some important types of stress, strain. There are different types of stress, strain, and modulus. Okay, modulus means modulus of elasticity. Just in short, I have written, okay, their types. I am understanding different types of stress, different types of strain, and the concerned modulus in one go. Okay, there are three types. Okay, let us go for the first case. Let us go for the case 1. Okay, let us go for the case 1. Now, again, I am telling you, I am studying the stress, strain, their types, along with the modulus. Okay, stress and strain. Okay, their types. Okay, how many types of stress and strains are there, along with the modulus. Okay, so let us go for the case 1. Case 1. When the change in dimension, is length. Okay, now again I'll tell you basic thing. When you apply a force to any body, any rigid body, if you have a rigid body, if you apply the force, its dimension changes. You are getting the point. Its dimension change. Either you apply the force or you pull it by applying a force. Okay, there may be change in dimension. What may change? The length may change. That means it gets squeezed. Okay, there may be change in volume. There may be change in shape. Okay, length may change, volume may change, or shape may change. Now here I am interested in the case where I have a change in dimension of the length. When there is a change in dimension of the length, you're getting the point. By applying a force, I have modified the dimension, which is nothing but a length. Okay, so therefore I have to take one such a system where there is a change in the length of the dimension, Got it? So let us take example for a wire. Okay, I have a metallic wire like this, which is having a dimension, which is having a length, certain length. Why? Because it is easy. Okay, so I have a wire. Okay, so I have a wire like this. Okay, now one end of the wire is fixed like this. Okay, to the surface, and the other end we are applying a force. What we are doing, we are applying a force. Let us assume that this is a circular in nature. Okay, circular wire, and I am applying a force. Now as I told you in the previous case, you can apply the force by applying a mass or a load like this, by applying a load like this. Okay, okay, so this is the length. Okay, now here you can apply the, so this is the cross sectional area. This is in the form of a circle. Now this is the form of a circle, and okay, this is in the form of a circle. This is nothing but a cross sectional area of a wire which is fixed at one end like this. This is wire which is fixed at one end. Now you apply the force. Okay, how you can apply the force? I told you in the last part. You can apply the force by applying physically. You can pull it, physical force, or you can apply a mass. You hang a mass to it. So once you hang a mass, this is called as a load. Okay, so this load, okay, is going to, this is a load or a mass, okay, is going to generate a force F. This is known as the applied force. Either you pull it by physical, okay, either you apply a mass. Okay, by applying a mass, you are applying a force m into g in the downward direction. Mass ಹಾಕುದ್ರು ಒಂದ, load ಹಾಕುದು ಒಂದ, ಅಥವಾ ನೀವು pull ಮಾಡಬಹುದು, ಏನರ ಮಾಡ್ರಿ, but you can apply the force. Once you apply the force, what happens? There is a change in dimension. There is a change in dimension. So this is the change in dimension. The length is changing now. The length is changing. Okay. This much is the change in length. Okay. How much is the length? This much is the change in length. X. What is the original length? Original length is L. Okay. This is the original length. This is the original length of the wire. So L is the, I have chosen a wire, okay, which is a metallic wire, okay, or any material which is exhibiting elasticity, okay. L is the length of the wire, length of the original length of the wire. Okay, I should write in detail because it's an initial class. So it is the original length of the wire, original length of the wire. Okay, length of the wire. So once you apply the length, this is the original wire, one end is fixed. So therefore I apply the force. This is the applied force. It's called as the applied force, or it's also called as the deforming force. It's called as the deforming force. Deforming force. It's also called as the deforming force. So the force is applied, F is applied along the length. Keep in mind, along the length of the wire, along the length of the wire. Keep in mind, F, this is the applied force. Okay, it is along the length. Look at this force. The force is along the length. This is the length. No, this is the length. Okay, it is applied along the length. So therefore, once you apply the force along the length, there is a change in dimension. What is the change in dimension due to the applied force or the deforming force? Okay, the force that you have applied or the deforming force that you have applied will lead to change in dimension. Therefore, the change in dimension that is taking place, change in dimension. What is the change in dimension? The change in dimension is the length, which is nothing but the length. So the length is changing. Now actually the original length was L. By the application of the force, the length has increased to L plus X. Therefore the new length is, if you evaluate the new length from here to here, it is L plus X. The new length is L plus X. So this is nothing but the new length. That is nothing but L plus X. Just a minute. Okay. So this is the new length of the wire. So from here to this point, what is the new length? This is the new length, L plus X. L plus X. You are getting the point. This is the new length. Original length is L. By the application of the force, deforming force, there is a change in dimension. What is the change in dimension? Length. The wire has been elongated by a length X. So therefore the change in dimension is the length that is taking place. Okay, it is along the length. So therefore I can define the stress and strain here with respect to length. With respect to length, I have to define. So therefore I can define the first one, the stress. I have to define stress. What type of stress I have to call it as? I will call it as the longitudinal stress. I will call it as the longitudinal stress. Longitudinal stress. Okay. Why I am using a word longitudinal? Because the force is applied along the length of the wire. Keep in mind, the force is applied along the length of the wire. Look at the force. It is along the length. This is the length of the wire. So it is along the length it is applied. Therefore, whatever the stress that is generated, it is along the length. Therefore, I will call it as the longitudinal stress, or it is sometimes also called as linear stress. It's also called as linear. Linear means along the length, linear stress. Okay. So longitudinal stress or linear stress, I can write as longitudinal stress is defined as, okay, force per unit area, force, applied force, okay, applied force along the length per unit area, okay. What is the area I have taken? This is the area I have. This area I call it as A stands for the area of the, that is cross sectional area. So therefore I can define the longitudinal stress as, okay, equal to applied force. This is the applied force or the deforming force along the length, okay, divided by the area, What is the force that I have applied? F. What is the area that I have? A. Therefore, I can write it as F by A. Therefore, longitudinal stress, I can write it as F divided by A. Okay. So what is the unit for stress? Anybody? What is the unit for stress? Longitudinal stress.
Newton per meter square, sir.
It is same for all, Newton per meter square. Okay, whatever the type of stress it may be, it is same. Only thing, the force that is applied is along the length, Therefore, the longitudinal stress is defined like this. This is how I can define it. Okay. This is the first one, longitudinal stress or linear stress. Okay. Why? Because it is along the length. This is the first type of stress. Therefore, when the case is along the length, when you apply the force along the length, when the dimension is along the length, okay, I have the first type of stress that is obtained to you, that is known as the longitudinal stress. This is the first one. Similarly, go for the strain. I can define strain. Now, I cannot just simply write it as strain. Normal, I cannot just write it as a normal strain. Okay. So strain I have to write. Which type of strain? That is known as the linear strain. It is known as the linear strain. Okay, the second term that you should know is the strain. Okay, so this linear strain is also called as the longitudinal strain. Longitudinal strain, or it is also called as the tensile strain. Okay, or longitudinal strain. Don't take it here, just take it as a tensile strain, that's all, or longitudinal strain, no necessity of the tensile strain. Okay, I'll tell you later why it is called as tensile strain also. So how you define linear strain? Therefore, linear strain, I can write it as linear strain as, okay, what is the formula for, what is the meaning of strain? Strain is nothing but the ratio of change in dimension to the original dimension. You have learned here. Okay, what is strain? What is strain? It's here on the board. It is nothing but the ratio of change in dimension to the original dimension. Change in dimension to the original dimension. So therefore, strain I have to define it as linear change in dimension to the original dimension. Now here, what is the dimension that has changed? Is the length changed, area changed, shape changed? Here the change is the length. Therefore, I can write here as, first I will write the definition. So therefore, change in dimension. Okay. Change in dimension to the original dimension. This is the formula. Original dimension. Now, you go for this wire. The wire is having a dimension whose length is L. You are getting the point. What is the length? Length is L. Okay, this is the original length is L. Okay, so what is change in length due to the application of the force? Due to the application of the force. Okay, this is the application of the due to the application of the force. The length gets changed. It will be enhanced by a. It is going to increase by a length x. Therefore, the original. Therefore, the change in dimension is the length. Okay, this is the thing, but the length. Okay, this is the thing, but the okay. So this is the thing, but the length. What I'm getting. So what is the dimension that is taking? It is the thing, but the length. I'm not okay. I'm putting this. Just a minute. Pen. Okay, just start. Okay, the change in dimension is the thing, but the length. Okay, the dimension that has been changed is x. Okay, so I have to write here the length, change in length to the original length, Okay, so this is the original length. Okay, so therefore linear strain, I can write it as linear strain. Okay, it is given by what is change in length? It is x. What is the original length? It is L. So this is the equation number 2, which gives you the linear strain. Now keep in mind here, we don't have the unit for the strain. Therefore, I have to keep as it is. Okay. Now we have to define the modulus for this. We have to define the modulus. So we know that from Hooke's law. Okay. We know that from Hooke's law. Okay, the stress is directly proportional to strain. It is directly proportional to strain. Here, what is the type of strain and what is the type of stress? Here, the type of stress is longitudinal stress. It is known as the longitudinal stress. It is known as the longitudinal stress. And the strain is the thing, but the linear strain. The linear strain is the thing, but the linear strain. So if I remove the proportionality sign, so therefore longitudinal stress. If I remove the proportionality sign, I have to remove the proportionality sign. If I remove the proportionality sign, this sign if I remove, okay, then it will give you, okay, some constant. That constant I will take it as y into linear strain. Okay. So therefore rearranging for y. Therefore y is a new constant. Okay. This constant y is known as the modulus. It is called as the modulus of elasticity. It is called as modulus of elasticity. Since here it is changing in length, therefore I will call it as Young's modulus. In particular, I will call it as Young's, Y-O-U-N-G, Young's modulus. Okay, so therefore Young's modulus Y is nothing but the ratio of longitudinal, if I rearrange it for Y, longitudinal stress to linear strain, to the linear strain. Okay, so this has a unit of Newton per meter square. It has a unit of Newton per meter square. So this is how we define the value for the Young's modulus. This is how we define the Young's modulus. Okay, what is Young's modulus? Young's modulus is nothing but the ratio of longitudinal stress to linear strain. Okay, now here longitudinal stress can also be called as tensile stress. It is also called as the tensile stress. I'll tell you what is tensile stress in the coming classes. This is also called as the linear, or it is called as tensile stress. Okay. So you can define Y as the ratio Young's modulus, therefore Young's modulus. Okay. Young's modulus as the ratio of longitudinal stress or tensile stress to the linear strain, This is how we define it. So within an elastic limit, we have to define it. Okay. So any doubts here, students? Hello?
No, sir.
Okay, fine. Okay, so I shall stop here itself. Okay. Did you had the maths class today morning? Today you don't have a maths class, no? At 1:30, which class you have?
Sir, lab is
The 1:30. Okay, fine. So here we will stop here itself. In the next class, we shall continue with the other types of modulus. That is the bulk modulus, then the modulus of rigidity. There are three types now. First one is over. Okay, whenever there is a change in length, it will give you the bulk modulus. Okay, so whenever there is a change in length, when you apply the force, okay, the force will produce a change in dimension, which is the length. When there is a change in length, it is known as the Young's modulus. The modulus associated with the change in length, we call it as the Young's modulus. Why? It is known as the ratio of longitudinal stress to linear strain. Okay. So I shall stop here itself. In the next class, we shall continue with the remaining. Okay. So these are the very basic things. Okay. Is the screen visible to you right now? Okay. I think yes.
Yes, sir.
So now I will take the attendance. Clear? Download attendance list. Okay. And I shall stop here itself. The next class we shall continue. If you have any doubts, you can call me at any time and clear the doubts. Okay. Thank you for your time. I appreciate your presence. Okay. Thank you.